Welcome to World Rare Coins Vault, where we explore fascinating and valuable coins from around the world. In this feature, we present our top 3 rare one-penny coins, each with its own unique history and condition. From a 1921 penny in rusty condition to a 1906 one penny with an aged, worn appearance, and a 1913 one penny in a dirty condition, these historic coins offer a glimpse into the past and are of great interest to collectors and enthusiasts alike. Let's begin with the 1920 British one penny, a coin that has survived for more than a century and still attracts attention from collectors because of its rich history and timeless design. The particular example we are discussing today is in rusty condition, and while its appearance reflects decades of circulation and environmental exposure, every old coin has a story to tell. If you have discovered a 1920 penny in an old collection, inherited coin box, or forgotten drawer, you may be wondering whether it could be worth more than its face value. In this video, we will explore its fascinating background, examine the portraits on both sides, discuss its weight and specifications, explain how condition affects collectability, and reveal what collectors are currently willing to pay for examples like this one in today's market. The 1920 British one penny was struck during the reign of King George V, a monarch whose coins circulated throughout the British Empire during a significant period of history following the First World War. Millions of these bronze pennies entered circulation and became part of everyday life, passing through countless hands and markets, shops, and businesses across Britain. The coin represents an important era of British history and remains a favorite among collectors who appreciate pre-decimal coinage. Although the 1920 issue was produced in substantial numbers, surviving examples continue to attract interest because many have been lost, damaged, or heavily worn over the decades. Well-preserved pieces naturally command greater attention, while even lower-grade coins are appreciated by enthusiasts who enjoy collecting historic British pennies as part of complete date sets. Looking closely at the obverse or head side, the coin proudly displays the left-facing portrait of King George V. Around the portrait appears a traditional Latin inscription identifying the king and his royal title. The engraving captures the dignity and authority of the monarch, reflecting the artistic style of the early 20th century. Turning the coin over to the reverse, commonly known as the tail side, you'll find the iconic seat of Britannia, holding a trident and shield while facing the sea. This classic design had become one of the most recognizable symbols of British coinage, representing strength, stability, and maritime heritage. The date 1920 appears beneath Britannia, making it easy to identify the year of issue. The 1920 British one penny was struck in bronze and has an official weight of approximately 9.45 grams with diameter of about 30.8 millimeters. Its substantial size and solid feel distinguish it from modern pennies, giving collectors an immediate sense of its historical significance. Even after more than 100 years, many surviving examples remain close to their original weight despite wear from circulation. These physical characteristics help collectors authenticate genuine coins and distinguish them from altered or counterfeit examples. When discussing rarity, it is important to understand that the standard 1920 penny is not considered one of the rarest British pennies ever produced, as over 100 million were originally minted. However, condition plays an enormous role in determining desirability. A rusty example, such as the one featured today, would normally appeal as a historical keepsake rather than a premium investment piece. Collectors generally place the highest value on coins with original surfaces, strong detail, and minimal damage. Nevertheless, many enthusiasts actively search for century-old pennies regardless of condition simply because they enjoy preserving pieces of Britain's monetary history and completing historical collections. From a realistic collecting perspective, a standard 1920 British one penny in rusty and heavily worn condition generally sells for only a modest amount, while exceptional uncirculated examples can achieve noticeably higher prices depending on grading and collector demand. The market for historic British coins continues to attract enthusiasts, but values depend heavily on authenticity, preservation, rarity, and recognized varieties rather than age alone. Collectors should be cautious of exaggerated claims suggesting that ordinary circulated 1920 pennies are routinely worth thousands of dollars, as such claims are not supported by the established numismatic market. If you are fortunate enough to own a 1920 penny, it is always worth handling it carefully. Avoid polishing or cleaning the surface, because doing so can reduce its appeal to collectors. Store the coin in a protective holder. Keep it away from moisture. And if you believe you may have an unusual variety or an exceptionally well-preserved example, consider obtaining a professional opinion from a respected coin dealer or grading service. Careful preservation helps maintain both the historical integrity and potential collector interest of any vintage coin. As we come to the end of today's video, the 1920 British 1 penny reminds us that the true value of a coin is not measured solely by money, but also by the history it carries through generations. Even a rusty example represents a remarkable survivor from more than 100 years ago, connecting us with a fascinating chapter of British history. Whether you collect coins as a hobby, enjoy discovering hidden treasures, or simply appreciate historic craftsmanship, the 1921 penny remains a memorable piece to own. Next up, the impressive 1906 1 penny, in an outdated condition. Although this particular example has seen many decades of circulation and now displays heavy wear, faded details, and the unmistakable signs of age, it still carries a remarkable story that attracts collectors from around the world. Coins like this are far more than old pieces of bronze. They are surviving witnesses to history, and every mark on the surface reflects more than a century of use. Even a well-worn example can spark excitement because the demand for Edward VII coinage continues to remain strong among enthusiasts searching for classic British coins. The 1906 1 penny was struck during the reign of King Edward VII, a period that represented the beginning of a new chapter for the British Empire after the Victorian era. These pennies were produced in large numbers for everyday trade, passing through countless hands in markets, shops, and businesses across Britain and beyond. More than 100 years later, surviving examples continue to be treasured because they connect collectors with a remarkable period of British history. Although outdated condition reduces the collector value, when compared with well-preserved examples, the historical importance of the coin remains unchanged, making it an attractive addition to many collections. The bronze composition and substantial size of the coin also make it one of the most recognizable pennies ever produced. The official weight is approximately 9.45 grams, with a diameter of around 30.8 millimeters. Looking closely at the front of the coin, collectors will find the portrait of King Edward VII facing right, surrounded by the traditional royal inscription that identifies him as king and emperor. Even when the coin has become heavily worn through decades of circulation, the outline of the king's portrait often remains visible, giving the piece its distinctive identity. Turning the coin over reveals the famous Seat of Britannia holding her trident and shield, a timeless symbol of Britain's strength and maritime heritage. On an outdated specimen, many of these finer details may have softened, yet the iconic design still captures imagination collectors who appreciate the artistry of early 20th century British coinage. When discussing rarity, it is important to remember that the 1906 1 penny is generally regarded as a collectible historical coin rather than an exceptionally rare issue. However, condition plays a significant role in determining desirability. An outdated example would considerable, whereas normally valued for its historical appeal instead of its scarcity, while coins retaining sharp detail and original surfaces can command much stronger prices in the numismatic market. Collectors are also prepared to pay premiums for coins displaying attractive natural toning, exceptional preservation, or certified high grades. As for today's market value in US dollars, an outdated 1906 1 penny usually changes hands for only a modest amount in the collector's market, often ranging from approximately $1 to $10, depending upon appeal, originality, and demand. Better preserved examples can achieve significantly higher prices, while outstanding mint state specimens have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at specialist auctions. It is also common to see eye-catching online listings advertising values such as $3,000, $5,000, $8,500, $12,000, or even $25,000, but these figures are often promotional asking prices rather than confirmed market sales. Such high numbers generally apply only to exceptionally rare varieties, outstanding certified grades, or speculative listings. So collectors should always compare completed sales before assuming a coin is worth those amounts. For anyone hoping to build a valuable coin collection, patience is one of the greatest advantages. Always examine the date carefully. Avoid cleaning old coins because cleaning can permanently reduce collector value, and store each piece in protective holders that prevent further wear or corrosion. Learning about genuine varieties, minting characteristics, and grading standards will help collectors recognize worthwhile discoveries and avoid unrealistic expectations. Every historic penny deserves careful preservation because even common dates become more desirable as surviving high-quality examples become harder to find over time. The 1906 one penny in outdated condition may not appear spectacular at first glance, but it represents more than a century of British history and remains a fascinating collectible for enthusiasts of all ages. Its connection to the reign of King Edward VII, its classic Britannia design, and its enduring popularity ensure that interest in this coin continues year after year. Whether your example is simply a treasured family keepsake or the beginning of a growing collection, it stands as a wonderful reminder that every historic coin has a story waiting to be discovered, and sometimes the greatest value lies not only in its price, but also in the remarkable journey it has traveled across generations. At last, the 1913 one penny is a fascinating coin that continues to attract collectors from around the world, especially when original examples appear with decades of natural circulation. If you have discovered a 1913 one penny in a dirty condition, you may be wondering whether it could still be worth a surprising amount of money. The answer depends on several important factors, including its authenticity, rarity, overall preservation, and collector demand. Even though a dirty coin may not appear attractive at first glance, experienced collectors often prefer original surfaces because they tell the story of more than a century of history. This enduring interest has helped maintain strong demand for genuine 1913 pennies in the numismatic market, making them a popular subject among coin enthusiasts. Historical records show that 1913 pennies remain an important issue within their respective series and are widely collected today. Looking back at the history of the 1913 one penny, it represents an era when coins are produced for everyday commerce and passed through countless hands during a remarkable period of world history. Every genuine example carries its own unique character, from lightware to darker surfaces created by decades of circulation. These natural signs of aging are often appreciated by collectors because they reflect the coin's genuine journey through time. Although millions were originally struck, finding examples with attractive original details has become increasingly difficult, encouraging continued interest among collectors who appreciate historical coins. Turning to design, the obverse, or head side, displays a distinguished portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right, accompanied by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1913 to the right. The reverse, often called a tail side, features a famous wheat cent design, with two elegant wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, while the national motto, E Pluribus Unum, appears above. This timeless design has become one of the most recognized coin designs ever produced and remains a favorite among collectors. The physical specifications also contribute to the appeal of the 1913 one penny. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19 millimeters in diameter, and was struck in a bronze alloy consisting primarily of copper with small amount of tin and zinc. These specifications remain consistent throughout the early Lincoln wheat cent series and help experts verify authenticity when examining surviving examples. When discussing rarity, it is important to understand that a dirty condition does not automatically make a coin rare, nor does it eliminate collector interest. Dirt, toning, and natural oxidation can develop over many decades, giving every coin an individual appearance. While heavily worn examples usually command modest prices, collectors sometimes value untouched surfaces more highly than aggressively clean coins. A naturally aged 1913 penny with clear details can therefore remain desirable, especially if it has never been improperly cleaned or damaged. Demand for original examples continues to support steady interest within the collecting community. Many people search online hoping their 1913 one penny could be worth thousands of dollars. To create excitement, you may hear impressive figures such as $3,250, $7,850, $12,500, $28,900, or even $75,000 for exceptional examples. These figures are often quoted in videos or discussions to illustrate how valuable a truly outstanding or exceptionally rare specimen might appear, but they should not be taken as the normal market value for an ordinary dirty circulated coin. Actual prices depend entirely on the coin's condition, originality, mint variety, rarity, and professional authentication. Exceptional coins with remarkable preservation or rare characteristics are the ones that attract the strongest competition among serious collectors. If you believe you own a genuine 1913 one penny, resist the temptation to polish or clean it. Collectors generally prefer coins that retain their original surfaces, even when they appear dark or dirty after many years of circulation. Handle the coin carefully by its edges, store it in a protective holder, and consider having it examined by a reputable coin specialist if you suspect it possesses unusual features or an uncommon variety. Careful preservation can help maintain both its historical importance and its collector appeal. The 1913 one penny remains one of the most recognizable early 20th century coins and continues to inspire collectors because of its rich history, classic design, and lasting popularity. Even in a dirty condition, it represents a tangible connection to the past and may still attract considerable interest from enthusiasts. While not every example will be worth a fortune, the possibility of discovering a particularly desirable specimen keeps excitement alive among collectors. With growing appreciation for historic coins and continued demand within the numismatic community, the 1913 one penny remains an enduring favorite that deserves careful attention whenever one is found.